I am an ordinary woman, my love. I am only here to gently guide you back to yourself, not to impress you with some magical secret. I have made so many mistakes, believed so many painful stories, and still I discovered something very simple. The future you want does not come because you push and strain and punish yourself into it. It comes when you stop fighting who you are and begin to send out a different, softer signal. People talk about manifesting as if it were begging the universe loudly enough, or writing the right sentence 100 times, or holding your breath until life finally gives in. That sounds exhausting, doesn't it? I want to offer you a different picture. Manifesting is not pleading. Manifesting is synchronizing. You are not trying to persuade life to be kind. Life is already kind. You are learning to change the channel you are broadcasting on very gently, day by day. And if today you feel tired or discouraged or confused, that's all right. We will begin exactly where you are. You don't have to become a different person overnight. For these 7 days, we will simply stop treating you like the enemy. You are not the problem here. The old programming is. We will talk to your nervous system, your heart, your subconscious mind in a way that feels safe. We will release some old conclusions about who you think you are allowed to be. We will experiment with lifting your emotions from survival to softness, from hardness to a little more trust. You don't have to force yourself to feel high vibration all at once. You only need to be willing to move one small notch at a time. To do that, we begin by loosening your contract with the past. I like to think of the past not as a stack of events, but as an invisible agreement you signed without knowing. Something painful happened, and instead of just leaving it as this happened, you drew a conclusion about yourself. I'm not good enough. I always get left. I can't hold on to anything good. You may not say those sentences out loud, but they live underneath your reactions. Imagine each conclusion as a clause in a contract. That contract has been quietly dictating what you expect from life. And because expectation is a powerful signal, life keeps reflecting it back. Not because you deserve pain, but because your nervous system has learned to recognize that pattern as familiar. One way to find these hidden clauses is to notice the emotional words that keep returning. When you are hurt, is it always the same flavor? Shame, fear, rejection, abandonment, resentment? When someone doesn't answer your message, does it immediately echo an old childhood feeling? When a plan falls through, do you instantly think, "Of course, this always happens to me"? These repetitions are not proof that you are cursed. They are proof that a particular belief is running in the background. You can start to ask, every time my heart aches like this, what am I believing about myself right now? Perhaps you notice, I'm believing I'm unlovable, or I'm believing I don't matter, or I'm believing I will always be second choice. Don't argue with it at first. Just name it, like you would name a color or a taste. This simple awareness already begins to loosen the contract, because now you can see you are dealing with a belief, not with absolute truth. Once you have caught a belief in the act, we don't need a long, complicated ceremony to free you. We just need a clear, gentle decision. You can put your hand on your heart and say, almost as if you are talking to a dear friend, "This is an old thought. I don't have to live by it anymore. I choose a kinder thought." You see, you are not erasing the memory. You are withdrawing your consent from the conclusion you attach to it. Maybe the new thought is, "I am learning to choose people who can stay," or "I am willing to see myself as worthy now," or "I am allowed to receive good things and keep them." It doesn't have to sound grand. It only has to feel a little softer than the old one. Each time the painful conclusion comes back, and it will, for a while you repeat the ritual. Old thought, I release you. Here is my new, gentler one. You are not fighting yourself. You are updating your agreements. Over time, your nervous system begins to understand the contract is changing. And when the contract changes, your future has room to arrive in a different shape. Now let's talk about emotions, because they are the music your signal plays. Many of us have lived so long in stress that we think it is our personality. We call ourselves anxious, hot-tempered, overthinkers, as if these were our names. But really, those are just survival states that became habitual. Survival, emotions, fear, anger, jealousy, constant vigilance are not wrong. They are simply heavy. When you are living there all the time, you are broadcasting, "The world is dangerous. I must fight or hide." It is very hard to welcome a beautiful future from that state, because any new possibility will feel like a threat. Then there is a middle layer of emotion. Neutral, fine, I'm okay, I can get through this. That is already gentler than panic, but it has little magnetism. And then, gently above that, come the elevated feelings: gratitude, tenderness, quiet confidence, trust, a sense of being supported. You don't stay there every second. That would be unrealistic, but those states are where manifestation becomes easier. Not because the universe suddenly notices you, but because your body is no longer braced for attack. So you can see opportunities, accept help, and act from clarity. We are not aiming for fake positivity here. We are simply training your heart to remember that it can feel more than fear. Your emotional elevator may stop at survival, neutral, and then, over time, more and more often at those elevated floors. You climb one floor at a time. You don't have to leap from the basement to the rooftop in one day. To climb in this gentle way, we must learn to soften your nervous system, because as long as your body is tense, your mind will prey from panic. Have you noticed that when your shoulders are up to your ears, your jaw clenched, your breath short, your thoughts become frantic? You might be saying affirmations, but underneath them is a voice screaming, "Please fix this. Please fix this. I can't bear it." That is not a space of receiving. That is a space of chasing. So we begin manifesting not with a vision board, but with a 90-second conversation with your own heart. Find somewhere you can sit or lie down. Place your hand on your chest, not as a dramatic gesture, but like you are saying hello to yourself. Close your eyes if that feels safe, and let the next inhale be a little deeper than usual, without forcing. As you breathe out, Let your shoulders drop just a fraction. Then, very quietly, offer yourself these words. Life loves me. I am safe. You don't have to believe them fully yet. You are simply letting them wash over your system as if you were standing under a warm shower. Take another slow breath and repeat. Life loves me. I am safe. Noticing any tiny place inside that softens even 1%. Perhaps your belly unwinds a little, or your throat feels less tight, or your thoughts lose a bit of their sharp edge. For 90 seconds, you are not trying to solve your problems or draw in a million miracles. You are doing something far more fundamental, teaching your body that it is allowed to leave survival mode. When your body feels even a little more secure, your heart can begin to rise from fear toward curiosity, from hardness toward a hint of trust. That shift, just one or two emotional steps higher, is already a powerful act of manifesting. You are saying to life, I am available. I am willing to see things differently. I am not using my past as a prison anymore. Remember, my love, you are not dragging the future to you by brute force. You are adjusting the way you feel, think, and speak so that the future you long for recognizes you when it arrives. In the days ahead, we will build on this, releasing more old contracts, practicing elevated feelings in a way that feels honest, and learning how to choose new actions without attacking yourself. For today, it is enough to begin here. With one old belief, you are ready to retire, one new thought that feels kinder, and one small moment where you put your hand on your heart and remind yourself, life loves me. I am safe. That is not wishful thinking. That is you changing the signal at the deepest level. There is something very gentle but very powerful I want to teach you now, and I don't want you to be intimidated by it for even 1 second. I call it, in simple language, your 1-hour certainty. Not because you are going to control the universe in an hour, but because for 1 precious hour you will stop arguing with yourself. Imagine what it would feel like for just 60 minutes to stop going back and forth, to stop asking, will it happen? Will it not happen? Am I good enough? Am I too late? And to simply sit inside a quiet inner yes. 1 hour is long enough for your body to relax and for your heart to awaken, but short enough that the lawyer in your mind doesn't have time to build a whole new case against you. Your inner critic loves long, vague futures. It loves one day I'll, because it can poke holes in that forever. But 1 hour, even the most anxious mind can tolerate that. All right, for the next hour, I won't tear myself apart. I will behave as if I am allowed to receive. We are not talking about pretending to be someone else or forcing yourself into a smile. We are talking about trying on a new posture. The posture of a person who is not begging, but agreeing. Certainty in this practice does not mean shouting, I believe. While you are shaking inside, it means I am willing to stop pushing away what I say I want. There are 3 little words that sit at the heart of this method. I am certain. I want you to hear them, not as a command, but as a doorway. When you whisper, I am certain, You are not insisting that you never doubt again. You are simply choosing a different relationship with doubt. Certainty here is not a clenched fist. It is an open hand. It is that inner statement, I agree to let good come to me. I am done arguing against myself. Can you feel the difference? I must believe, or nothing will work, is heavy, harsh, and full of fear. I am certain enough for this hour that I can allow myself to relax is softer, kinder, and possible. During this hour, whenever your mind starts to rush in with, what if it doesn't happen? You gently come back to, for this 1 hour, I am certain that what is meant for me knows how to find me. For this 1 hour, I am certain that I am lovable and worthy. For this 1 hour, I am certain that life is on my side. You can treat it almost like a little game you play with yourself. For 60 minutes, I will live inside this yes and see what it feels like. I can always go back to worry later if I miss it. Now let me walk you through how this 1 hour certainty can look in real time, because I want it to be very practical for you. You might set aside an evening hour or a quiet hour on a weekend morning. For the first 10 minutes, you do nothing but soften your body. No big rituals, no pressure. Just let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw loosen the tiniest bit. Let your belly move when you breathe instead of holding it in. Perhaps you close your eyes and take a few unhurried breaths in and out, as if you are telling your nervous system, we are not in a fight right now. You are not yet thinking about goals or visions. You are doing something more important. You are telling your body it does not have to brace for disaster. When your body starts to believe that, the rest becomes much easier. In the second 10 minutes, you pick up a pen or open a page and you write down in very simple present tense language what you are choosing to receive. Not a whole life catalog, not 25 demands at once, just 1 or 2 things that matter most right now. You might write, I am in a healthy, respectful relationship where I feel safe and cherished. Or, I am doing meaningful work that supports me financially and nourishes my soul. Or, I am living in a body that feels more and more balanced and energized each. Keep your phrases short enough that you could say them in one breath. This is not about perfection. It is about clarity. You are telling your mind, this is the direction. If you feel resistance, you don't scold yourself. You might add, I am open to this, or I am willing to allow this, because willingness is the little bridge to certainty. The next 20 minutes are the heart of the practice, and I want you to be very gentle here. You are going to sit or lie down if that is more comfortable, and let yourself feel what it might be like if this were already true. Not a huge drama, not acting on a stage, just a quiet inner rehearsal. If your intention is for your body to heal, you might imagine waking up with a bit less pain. Notice how you would move, how you would speak to yourself, how you would choose your food. If your intention is more abundance, you might imagine paying your bills with ease, noticing that your chest feels lighter as you do, maybe feeling a small wave of gratitude as you look at your bank account. If your intention is love, you might imagine walking through your day feeling emotionally held, whether or not a partner is yet there. Allow a little smile to appear or a little exhale of relief. You don't need to see every detail. You only need to taste the feeling. During this time, whenever your mind says, "But what if this never happens?" you do not fight. You simply answer, "For this hour, I am certain enough to practice feeling it." That is all we are doing. Then we come to a very simple but powerful 10 minutes. You choose one sentence that captures this certainty, and you rock yourself with it almost like a lullaby. Not a forced chant, not a race, but a slow, rhythmic, reaffirming. You might choose, "I am allowed to have this," or "It is safe for me to receive this," or "My good is already on its way to me." You repeat it out loud if you can, in a soft tone, like you are speaking to a beloved child. Notice the rhythm of your breath as you say it. If tears come, let them. Tears are just old resistance melting. This is not about convincing some distant universe. This is about convincing the little parts of you that have felt left out, rejected, or unworthy that they are finally being invited in. You are telling your inner world, "I choose to be on my side now." And then comes the part most people forget, the final 10 minutes of letting go and returning to ordinary life. When your hour ends, you do not sit and check your phone for signs or ask, "Is it working yet? Is it working yet?" That would be like digging up a seed every 5 minutes to see if it is sprouting. Instead, you thank yourself for showing up. Maybe place a hand over your heart, and then you go and do something simple. Wash the dishes, take a short walk, answer your emails with a little more softness than before. You are not required to maintain perfect certainty for the rest of the day. You have already planted the seed. Your only job is not to immediately pour poison on it by saying, "That was stupid. Nothing will change anyway." If that thought shows up, you can smile and say, "That's the old contract speaking. I gave myself a new one today, and that is enough for now." Now, my love, I want to talk a little about what is happening inside you during this hour, not as a dry science lesson, but as a way of honoring how beautifully your mind and body are designed. When you live in constant doubt and fear, your nervous system switches on what we might call the alarm mode. It is as if your brain is a security guard, always scanning for danger. In that state, it sends signals through chemicals and hormones that say, "Get ready to run," or "fight," or "freeze." Your heart beats faster, your muscles tense, your digestion slows. It is very hard to imagine a gentle future when your whole body is preparing for an attack. You might even try to visualize or say affirmations, but underneath the words is a stream of chemicals saying, "We are not safe. We must protect, not receive." So of course it feels like nothing manifests. Your inner world is not in a posture of receiving, it is in a posture of defense. When you soften your body at the beginning of the hour, you are actually sending the opposite message. Your shoulders lowering tell your brain there is no tiger here. Your slower breathing tells your heart, we are not running for our lives right now. As these signals repeat, your body begins to reduce the stress chemistry and make room for calmer, more balanced states. You don't have to know the names of all the hormones. It is enough to understand that every new, kinder thought changes the soup your cells are swimming in. Every thought you think is like a little drop of color in the water of your body. Soothing thoughts tint that water with peace. Harsh thoughts cloud it with fear. When you spend even an hour tending to softer thoughts, your internal climate shifts, and from that climate, different choices become available. You might suddenly think of a solution that never occurred to you, or feel the courage to send an email, or notice a helpful person you would have overlooked in your anxious state. Think of your brain as having different gears. In alarm mode, it clatters and grinds, jumping from one danger to another. In the kind of focused, relaxed certainty we are talking about, the gears mesh more smoothly. You know this feeling already. Those times when you were completely absorbed in something you loved, painting, cooking, gardening, even a conversation, and time seemed to move differently. You were not obsessing over, will this work? Am I good enough? You were simply present. That is a kind of flow. Our 1-hour method is a way of inviting a bit of that flow into your relationship with your future. Instead of forcing your mind to argue itself into belief, you give it a clear picture to hold, a safe body to live in, and a simple phrase to lean on. The brain loves clarity and repetition. It relaxes when it knows what to focus on. When you repeat, I am certain, in the soft way we described, the mind begins to file your desire under possible instead of danger. It stops sending you so many frightening counterarguments and gives more attention to anything that matches your intention. You may notice over the next days that ideas crop up in the shower, or that you suddenly remember someone you could call, or that an article appears that seems to speak directly to what you want. This is not random. You have, in a very real way, tuned your inner radio to a station that can hear these things. You are not hypnotizing yourself into ignorance. You are dehypnotizing yourself from fear. I want you to notice, too, that during that hour, you are not only changing your relationship to the future, you are also healing your relationship with the present. Doubt, for many people, is just another name for self-attack. It won't happen often secretly means, I am not worthy of it happening. When you offer yourself an hour of certainty, you are really offering yourself an hour of nonviolence, an hour in which you are not allowed to bully yourself in your own head. Can you feel how healing that is? Even if nothing in the outside world changed, that alone would be worth practicing. But of course, the outside world will begin to shift because you show up differently when you are not bleeding from 1,000 invisible cuts. You make cleaner choices. You say yes from truth, not from fear. You say no without as much guilt. Your actions become little votes for the future you wrote on that piece of paper, and life responds to those votes. So when you hear the phrase, 1-hour certainty, don't imagine pressure. Imagine a warm bath you step into for an hour, where doubt can sit quietly on a chair outside the door and wait. Imagine letting your cells rest in a kinder chemistry for a little while. Imagine allowing your mind to rehearse a new story without being interrupted every 2 minutes by old arguments. At the end of that hour, you will still be you, no halos, no lightning bolts, but you will be a version of you who has tasted what it feels like to stop fighting herself. And that taste, my dear, is what draws the future toward you, not because you shouted loud enough, but because you finally matched on the inside the kind of life you wish to live on the outside. Let me share something with you, my dear. When people hear the phrase live as if you've already achieved it, their minds often run straight to pretending. They think it means acting rich when there is no money in the bank, or behaving as if every wound has healed overnight. That is not what I am interested in for you at all. I am not asking you to lie to yourself or to anyone else. What I want for you is much gentler and far more powerful. I want you to begin relating to yourself as if you are already worthy, already chosen, already on your way, even while the outer picture is still catching up. Living in the already achieved state is not about faking an external lifestyle. It is about changing the way you treat yourself on the inside. It is about the tone of voice in your mind, the way you arrange your little corner of the world, and the choices you make when no one is watching. If the future you desires deep love, how does she speak to herself this morning? If the future you lives in abundance, how does he handle the small amount he has today? If the future you is peaceful and confident, how does that version of you walk into the kitchen right now? You see, we are not waiting for the goal to arrive so that we can finally become that person. We are letting the goal pull us into the person we are capable of being today. Think of it this way. The already achieved version of you does not bully herself out of bed. She might be firm, but she is not cruel. So, when you wake up and your first instinct is to say, "You're so behind, you're such a mess," I want you to pause and ask, is that how my future self would speak to me? Living in the energy of, "it has already worked out," sounds more like, "All right, sweetheart, we're tired, but we can take one step. We can drink a glass of water. We can answer one email. We can begin." The already achieved you pays attention to her environment. She may not have her dream house yet, but she clears a small corner and keeps it kind and welcoming because she knows she deserves a space where her nervous system can relax. She chooses to wear something comfortable and clean, not because she is showing off to anyone, but because she is quietly telling her cells, "We matter." Living as if is not about spending money you don't have. It is about behaving as if you are already the sort of person whose time, body, and energy are precious. One loving decision at a time, you let the future you whisper into your ear, "Talk to me kindly, put me in places that nourish me." Make one small move today that a person who believes in herself would make. Over time, there are little signs that tell you your frequency has shifted, and I want you to recognize them so you do not miss your own progress. One of the first signs is that you become less hungry to prove yourself. You notice that you do not jump as quickly to explain every choice, to justify every boundary, or to convince people that you are doing the right thing. You simply feel in your bones that you are allowed to be in process. That is the energy of already achieved. You stop treating your life as a courtroom and start treating it as a home. Another sign is that you need fewer outside stamps of approval. Of course, it still feels good to be supported, but your entire day is no longer ruined when someone doesn't understand you. Even when the old hurt rises up, you more quickly return to, I understand me. That is a start. A third beautiful sign is that you quietly start doing the little things you have postponed for ages. You tidy that tiny drawer. You make the doctor's appointment. You answer the email you have been avoiding. These are not grand gestures, yet they change your inner landscape. Why? Because your whole system is learning. We are not waiting for some magical day when we suddenly become worthy enough to act. We are living as worthy now. You no longer need a perfect plan. You simply ask, what would my future self thank me for doing in the next 10 minutes? And you do that. In this way, the as-if state is kind, not rigid. It is a soft alignment, not a stiff performance. Now we must talk about a very common trap, my love, the temptation to constantly test the universe. When people begin to live differently inside, some part of them still wants proof, and it wants it right now. So they start planting a little seed of new behavior, and then, every day, they yank it out of the soil to examine the roots. Is it working? Has anything changed yet? Why hasn't my miracle arrived? Their energy goes from calm and open back to anxious and tight. This is not a punishment. It is simply how fear behaves. Fear cannot relax into process. It wants instant guarantees. But life does not grow on that timetable. Life has its own wise rhythm. My dear, don't pull the plant up just to check if the roots are growing. You may smile at that, but it is exactly what so many of us do. We say one loving affirmation. We make one healthy choice. We hold one boundary, and then we look around frantically for applause or signs or money or validation. When they don't appear immediately, we declare, see, nothing works, and we abandon ourselves again. Instead, I want you to treat your new way of living like a tender garden. You water it with small daily actions. You give it sunlight in the form of kind thought. You protect it from harsh winds by limiting how much criticism and chaos you allow into your field. And then you let the roots do what roots do. Grow in the dark, slowly, quietly, beneath where you can see. If you must, check inside. Ask yourself, is my nervous system a little calmer now when I make this choice? Do I feel even 5% more self-respecting when I speak this way? Am I able to return to my intention more quickly after I wobble? Those are very real results. They are foundational changes, the outer manifestations, new people, new opportunities, new circumstances tend to arrive once this inner soil is more stable. You are learning to measure progress not only by what you can post or show to others, but by how you feel when you are alone with your own heart. So, living in the state of already achieved does not mean ignoring your current reality. It does not mean denying your bills or pretending your heartbreak doesn't ache. It means you stop using those facts as evidence that you are unworthy and start asking, how would someone who knows they are loved move through this moment? Maybe they would ask for help instead of isolating. Maybe they would rest instead of punishing themselves for being tired. Maybe they would take one brave step instead of waiting to be completely unafraid. When you choose that kind of action, you are not faking your future. You are embodying it. You become the person for whom the next right things simply make sense. You are rewriting your life not by shouting at the universe, but by changing how you walk through your own front door each day. If you notice yourself wanting to test life, if this doesn't happen by Friday, I give up. If I don't see a sign today, it means I'm not meant for it. Pause and remember the plant. Remember that roots grow in private. Remember that your job is to keep showing up for you. The universe is not a strict school teacher marking you pass or fail. It is a responsive field that mirrors your most consistent state. When your state says, I am worth small, steady care, I do not abandon myself anymore. I can wait without hating myself. Miracles have a place to land. So, my love, live as if gently. Speak to yourself as if you matter. Arrange your space as if you belong here. Act in small ways as if your dreams are already walking toward you. And then let them. So, now that we have talked about living in a gentler certainty, I would love to walk with you through something very simple and very real. 7 days that begin to shift your future without you having to fight yourself. Think of this as a little journey we're taking together, not a test, not a race. Each day, you and I will do 3 things. We'll reset an old pattern, we'll spend a little time in a feeling of certainty, and then we'll take one ordinary action that opens the door to receiving. That's all. 7 days, 3 small steps each day. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Ready? Let's begin. Day 1. End the past contract. On the first day, my darling, we are going to gently loosen the grip of the past. Not by digging and digging until you are exhausted, but by noticing the quiet contracts you have been living under for years. I like to think of these contracts as old, crumpled pieces of paper your mind once signed when it was hurting. They say things like, I am not enough, or I always get left, or good things never last for me. They are not true laws of the universe. They are old agreements made in moments of pain. Today, for just a few minutes, I want you to sit with a piece of paper and write down 3 of these old conclusions you have been living by. Don't overthink it, just write what comes. I always mess things up. No one stays. I don't deserve more than this. You are not reinforcing them. You are bringing them into the light. Then we move into certainty not about the past, but about your right to write a new story. Look at those 3 sentences and very gently choose just one to transform. You don't need to change everything at once. Take the heaviest one and soften it. Perhaps I always mess things up becomes I am learning and I am becoming more capable every day. No one stays might become I am worthy of steady, kind love. I don't deserve more can shift to I am beginning to see my true worth. Write your new sentence slowly. Read it again and again until your body feels even 1 degree more open. This is your new contract. You are not begging the universe. You are informing your own subconscious that the terms of your life are changing. For your receiving action today, I want you to choose one small corner of your physical space, a table, a nightstand, the top of a dresser, and clear it as if you were preparing to welcome a treasured guest. You might wipe it, fold something, place a candle or a small flower. Nothing dramatic is needed. What matters is the intention behind it. This is my little space for the future to land. This is where I show myself that something new is coming. As you tidy, whisper, I am making room. Let your hands act out what your heart is choosing. When you are done, close your eyes for a moment and say softly, the past is over. I am free now. Feel those words not as a demand, but as a direction. The past has had its time. Today, even in this tiny way, you are stepping off the old contract and onto a new path. Day 2, train the heart. On the second day, we are going to work with the beautiful instrument that is your heart. Many people try to manifest from the neck up, planning, visualizing, analyzing, but their nervous systems are still living in survival. Today is about admitting honestly where you tend to live emotionally, and then giving your heart a different climate to practice in. For your reset, sit quietly and name 2 survival emotions that you frequently find yourself in. Survival emotions feel tight, urgent, defensive. Maybe for you, it is chronic worry and irritation. Maybe it is shame and resentment. Maybe it is that feeling of always needing to be on guard. You don't need to judge these emotions. Simply acknowledge them. These are the states I return to when I am tired or afraid. By naming them, you are no longer completely merged with them. You are the observer, not the storm. Now we will move into certainty, not by yelling affirmations, but by giving your heart a few minutes of real safety. Place your hand on your chest, or both hands if that feels better, and close your eyes. For about 7 minutes, set a gentle timer, if you like. Breathe a little slower and deeper than usual. On the in-breath, silently think, life loves me. On the out-breath, I am safe. Let the words be a lullaby rather than a lecture. You may not fully believe them yet, and that is all right. You are simply offering your heart a new pattern, a rhythm of being loved and being safe. If tears come, let them. If nothing comes, that is all right too. What matters is that for these minutes, your heart is not being yelled at, it is being held. For your receiving action, I want you to visit the mirror, not as an enemy, but as a doorway. Look into your own eyes just for a few breaths and speak one kind sentence to yourself, something simple and true enough that you can almost accept it. You are doing the best you can. Thank you for not giving up. I am here for you. You do not need to recite a long speech. One honest, warm sentence is powerful. You are teaching your heart that there is at least one person in this world who will not abandon it, you. And when you are ready to close day 2, whisper, life loves me and I am safe. Let those words soak into the same place where the survival emotions used to reign. You are not ignoring your fear. You are giving it a kinder home. Day 3, the 1-hour certainty session. On the 3rd day, we practice what I call a concentrated hour of alignment, not because you must be perfect for a whole hour, but because sometimes we need a clear container to feel something new. Today, your reset is very simple. You acknowledge the habit of dipping in and out of doubt all day long. Notice how often you start to imagine something good and then immediately talk yourself out of it. It's silly. It's impossible. Who am I to want that? This is not to scold yourself. It is to see the pattern that keeps you on the threshold. Now, just for today, you are going to give yourself 1 full hour where the rule is, for this hour, I am allowed to believe. Begin by softening your body for about 10 minutes. Stretch gently. Unclench your jaw. Roll your shoulders. Breathe into your belly. Tell your body, we are safe enough to dream right now. Then spend about 10 minutes writing down, in present tense, what you are inviting into your life. Not pages and pages, just a clear, simple description. I live in a home that feels peaceful. I do work that nourishes me. I am surrounded by kind, supportive people. Let it be specific enough to feel, but not so detailed that you exhaust yourself. Next, for 20 minutes, sit or lie somewhere comfortable and simply feel into the idea that some version of this is already real in the field of possibilities. You are not straining to imagine every detail. You are letting your body taste the feeling of, it has worked out. Perhaps it feels like your shoulders lowering, your chest opening, your breath smoothing. Perhaps it feels like quiet joy or gentle relief. Stay with that feeling as best you can, and when your mind wanders, kindly bring it back. Then choose one sentence that captures this state. I am certain. I allow good to come to me now. And for about 10 minutes, repeat it softly, like a mantra, letting the words rock you. At the end of the hour, here is the most important part. You do something completely ordinary. You wash a dish, you make a cup of tea, you answer a simple email. You consciously step back into your day without going hunting for signs. This is your receiving action. You demonstrate trust by not poking at the seed you just planted. You behave as if the universe heard you, and you leave room for it to respond in its own way. Close day 3 by affirming, I am certain. I allow good to come to me now. Feel how different that is from please, please, please. One is desperation. The other is agreement. Day 4, clean the language, clean the chemistry. On the 4th day, we are going to look at the way your words bathe your body every morning. Your reset today is to gently notice the phrases you use that drain your power throughout the day. Or, sitting for a few minutes with a pen, catch at least 5 sentences you say often that make you feel small or heavy. I have to do everything. I can't handle this. I'm always late. I'm so stupid. I'm terrified about the future. Again, this is not about blaming yourself. You are simply listening in on the radio station that has been playing in the background for years. Then we move into certainty by translating those phrases into language that your nervous system can live with. Instead of, I have to do everything, you might write, I choose what I can do today, and I let the rest go. I can't handle this might become, I'm learning how to handle this one step at a time. I'm always late could shift to, I am becoming more respectful of my own time. Do you feel the difference? The new sentences do not pretend you are perfect. They simply point you in a kinder direction. Go through your list and, for each old statement, write a new one that begins with I choose, I am learning, or I am willing. Read them out loud. Let your ears hear the difference. For your receiving action today, I invite you into what I like to call a no-complaint window. Just for 12 hours, perhaps from morning to evening, you experiment with not complaining out loud. You still feel what you feel. You still take action where needed. But you choose not to keep reinforcing the negative story with your mouth. When you catch yourself about to complain, pause and either say nothing or reframe it. I am tired and I will rest when I can. This is not about being fake. It is about no longer poisoning your own air. And when the day comes to a close, stand somewhere quiet and tell your body, my words create peace. My body responds with healing. Feel that for a moment. You are changing the chemistry of your day by changing the climate of your language. Day 5. Live as the one who receives. On the 5th day, we focus on something many people find surprisingly difficult: receiving. Your reset is simply to ask yourself, honestly, where am I saying no to love? Perhaps you brush off every compliment. Oh, it's nothing. Perhaps you refuse help even when you are overwhelmed. Perhaps you quietly sabotage opportunities because you feel unworthy or afraid. Take a few minutes to write where you tend to deflect. I change the subject when someone praises me. I say I'm fine when I'm not. I decline support I actually need. Seeing these patterns is the first step in softening them. Then we step into certainty by practicing a new response. Today, your mantra when goodness comes to the door is thank you, not it's no big deal, not you shouldn't have, just thank you. When someone offers a kind word, look them in the eyes and receive it. Even if you feel awkward when help is available, let yourself say yes once. Your mind might protest, I don't deserve this, but your new certainty says, I am willing to be someone who can receive. You don't have to force enthusiasm. You only need to stop slamming the door. Your receiving action is very literal. Let something good in. Accept a small gift, a ride, an introduction, a piece of advice you've asked for. If no one offers anything today, you can even let life give you a moment, the warmth of the sun, a comfortable chair, and consciously say, I receive this. It is the attitude that matters, not the size of the gift. At the end of the day, place your hand on your heart and affirm, I am open and receptive to all good. Feel how your chest responds. Does it tense? Does it sigh? Either way, you are teaching your system a new way to be in the world, not as a beggar at the door, but as someone who is finally willing to let blessings in. Day 6, the test day. Old pattern returns. By the 6th day, it is very common for an old pattern to come back and knock on your door. This is not a sign that you have failed. It is a sign that your energy is changing, and the old program is checking if you still want it. Your reset today is to see the test as an opportunity instead of a punishment. When something familiar triggers you, a critical comment, a delay, a bill, a rejection, instead of thinking, "Here we go again, nothing ever changes," gently say to yourself, "Ah, this is my old pattern visiting. This is my chance to respond differently." Your certainty practice today is very simple and very powerful. When you feel triggered, before you say or do anything, pause for 3 conscious breaths, not rushed, not forced. Inhale and notice, "I am activated." Exhale and think, "I do not have to react from the old place." Inhale again, feeling your feet or your seat. Exhale once more, letting some of the charge move through you instead of exploding outward or collapsing inward. In those 3 breaths, you are choosing to be the new you, even if you still feel shaky. For your receiving action, decide on one new response you are willing to practice. If you usually argue, perhaps today you stay silent and leave the room. If you usually apologize automatically, perhaps today you simply say, "I need to think about this." If you usually blame yourself immediately, perhaps today you tell yourself, "Wait, let me see the whole picture." It does not matter if the action is small. What matters is that it is different and truer to who you are becoming. This is how you lock in a new frequency, not by thinking about it, but by acting from it when it counts. When the day is done, you can say to yourself, even if you wobbled, "I choose a new response. I am not my old pattern." Let that sink in. You may have repeated the old pattern for years, but today, somewhere, you interrupted it. That is a miracle. Day 7. Seal it. Release plus trust. On the 7th day, we gather the week into our arms and bless it. Your reset practice is to take a few minutes to write down any evidence, however small, that something shifted over these 7 days. Maybe you noticed yourself being kinder in the mirror. Maybe you accepted help. Maybe you caught a negative thought and changed it. Maybe you simply realized how harsh you had been with yourself, and that realization itself is a change. List these little proofs. They are your soul showing you, "Look, we are moving." Into faith, then we step into certainty one more time by practicing release. You have done your part this week. You have shown up, breathed, written, spoken, acted. Now you say from your heart, "I send this to life. I trust." You might sit quietly, imagine placing all your desires, worries, and efforts into a soft light and letting that light rise beyond your control. You do not abandon your dreams. You stop strangling them. You tell the universe, "I have prepared the ground. I am willing to be led. Show me the next step in your own way and time." For your receiving action on this final day, I want you to do something purely for joy. Not to check a box, not to improve yourself, not to impress anyone. It might be listening to a song and really letting yourself feel it. It might be taking a short walk, noticing the sky. It might be making a cup of tea and actually savoring it. Pleasure, in its simple, honest form, is a sign that you are allowing life to touch you. It says, "I am not just here to struggle. I am here to experience goodness too. And as you close this 7-day journey, speak these words slowly, as if you are laying a warm blanket over your own shoulders. Everything is working out for my highest good. You do not have to know how. You do not have to see the whole map. You only need to know that you have taken 7 days to stop fighting yourself and start aligning with yourself. That is a very big shift. If at any point you feel you have fallen off, remember, you can come back to any one of these days at any time. Day 1, when the past feels heavy. Day 2, when your heart forgets it is loved. Day 3, when doubt gets loud. Day 4, when your words turn sharp. Day 5, when you cannot receive. Day 6, when the old pattern knocks. Day 7, when you need to remember that you are not alone in this. You are not broken, my love. You are learning a new way of being with yourself. And every time you choose even one of these little practices, you are telling life, I am ready to walk with you, not against you. And life, in its own wise way, begins to walk with you too.